Now, Kim, one thing about your career that tells me you're a dedicated reporter is that if you'd played your cards differently, if you had managed certain situations in a different way, you could seriously have become Mrs. Nawaz Sharif.
It's true.
Maybe
not Mrs., but certainly Mistress Nawaz Sharif.
Don't sell yourself short. Nawaz Sharif, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, who's I don't know, today is still a kind of influential opposition figure in the country, had plans for you. He had a project for you when you went to interview him. What was his project?
I don't know if he had it in the very beginning, but it soon became... after a few months of knowing him and feeling like, hey, here's this great source. He'll always answer my phone calls. It's great to have, the only opposition leader at that point after Benazir was killed answer your phone calls, right? And so then I met with him at a certain point, and I think this was August of 2008, and the country's just falling apart. It's just falling apart at this point. He has just stepped out of the coalition government. Musharraf has just stepped down. There's a lot of chaos. The army's going into the tribal areas. There's 300,000 refugees that have fled from one particular tribal area. And he then proceeds to ask me if I had a friend during our interview.
A friend?
A friend.
A friend?
Yeah.
And you said, what kind of friend?
No, I said, I have a lot of friends. I had no idea what he was talking about, and he said, no, I mean a friend. And I said, do you mean like a special friend, like a boyfriend, Nawaz Sharif? And he said... yeah, and I just thought, I got to see where this goes, because it's just, it's absurd that, a former prime minister is asking a foreign journalist this. Yeah, if he thinks this is okay, what does he do to the women of his own country, right?
Now, he's a rich and powerful guy, but he's no Imran Khan, is he? He's not.
He's no Imran Khan.
No, he's not a particularly attractive man.
No.
To be unkind. That might be a bit unkind, but he's not particularly unkind.
No, I think it's fair.
It's fair, okay.
It's fair.
All right.
He's also my father's age. He's also married. And in the very beginning, I ran this question. We ran through it, and he offered to find me a friend. And, he said, what qualities are you looking for? And I said, tall, funny, and smart.
I can't believe you're having this conversation with him.
I know. And I was just like, I thought to myself, write down everything. Yeah. Write down everything as soon as you get out of here, because he should not be having this conversation with you. And then, he's asking me, what do I mean by smart? And, he's like, I say, clever, intelligent. What sort of a question? What do you mean by smart? And then he says, oh, you don't want to, I get what you mean, but you do not want a cunning friend. And I said, no, really, who wants a cunning friend? And so then I talked to some Pakistani friends, including Tammy, and I said, what does this mean? And they said, look, he's just a Punjabi uncle. He's not hitting on you. Punjabi men like to fix up single women, and don't worry about it. And so I just sort of felt like he had taken on this project, and he referred to it as the project. And I didn't necessarily treat it as anything but a joke until he, eventually did make his play. And bought me an iPhone, of all things.
Yeah, first he tried to set you up with the president of Pakistan, Asif Ali Zardari, Benazir Bhutto's widower. You said absolutely not.
No, and what I said was, my mother made me take this out of the book because she said, you can't have it in there. It makes you seem so unlikable. But the first thing that did come out of my mouth was, his last wife didn't come to such a good end. No, and my mom just thought, I said it was truthful. That's really what happened. She says, it really makes you seem unlikable. But, I can't, I think I'm one of those people that it comes into my head and it just comes out my mouth. And so, he first said Zardari, Mr. Z, he called him. And then he told me that the second choice he was going to set me up with would be revealed later. And at this point, I told my bosses, I cannot see Nawaz Sharif anymore. You can't make me see him because it's just getting too creepy. And of course, then the Mumbai attacks happen, and then I had to go see him again, and they said, go see Nawaz Sharif. Of course, he's the most powerful politician in the state of Punjab, or the province of Punjab. And we knew that one of the only surviving bomber in Mumbai came from Punjab, from a town called Faridkot. And there was all these different Faridkots in Pakistan. And anyone you went to, they told us, no, this is not the Fareed coat you're looking for. I knew Nawaz Sharif would know which one it was. So I went to go see him. I took my translator in with me because I figured that would give me some level of protection. He told us the right Fareed coat. We knew where we needed to go. He, answered my questions about the bombing, but he kept looking at my poor translator, and my poor translator was just sitting there just mortified. Here he is with a former prime minister of Pakistan, and who doesn't want him there because he's not performing a function. It's not like he's translating. Nawaz Sharif speaks perfectly fine English. He's just essentially serving as my bodyguard. So then Nawaz asked the translator to leave. The translator really has no choice but to, and Nawaz Sharif informs me that he has bought me an iPhone so we can talk privately. And I tell him I cannot take it, and we go back and forth on this for a while, and then he finally reveals himself. He says, he gives me a line that I honestly do think should become a line used in bars across the world, which is, I know I'm not as tall as you want, I'm not as fit as you want, I'm fat and I'm old, but I'd still like to be your friend.
And yet, despite that killer line, you gave him the knockback.
I said, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.